Hi guys, we are here today to talk about crate training. Now, teaching our puppies especially, but really dogs of any age, to sit comfortably in a crate is something that I get a lot of questions about, especially from new puppy owners. So this is something that we've had a lot of requests for, so I thought today was a good day to do this. So we're going to go through the step-by-step process that I use to teach my puppies to be comfortable in a crate, as well as cover some tips and some problem solving and stuff like that. We'll also answer any questions that you guys have here live about crate training and stuff like that. Now, before we get started, I do want to mention really quickly that at the link in the description of this video, you can get your hands on our brand new free puppy training ebook. Now, this ebook is something we've been working on for a really long time, and it covers a lot of the top questions that I get about puppy raising. What it is a sort of it's basically outlining Leo and my's first 7 days together. So when he came home, how exactly I handled his first week. What did we do? What did we train? How did we introduce the crate? Stuff like that. It covers our 4-step puppy raising formula, which helps with everything from chewing to play biting to house training, everything like that. It has tips on all kinds of puppy raising questions. It has a sample schedule. It has all kinds of things. And you can get your hands on that free ebook, like I said, in the link in the description of this video. So I just wanted to mention that because we just finished this morning. We're very excited about it. But let's get started with our crate training. So first, I'm a big proponent of crate training. I think that it can really help us keep our puppies safe, teach them to live in our homes more quickly. It's a fantastic management tool. And if your dog ever needs to sit in a crate later on down the road due to an injury or something, you've already established that the crate is a safe place to be. It can also really help with traveling with a dog who isn't yet used to traveling. So when my service dogs first begin to travel with me, their crate is a huge asset for us. So when it comes to teaching our puppies, my puppies specifically, to sit in their crate, I follow sort of 4 main steps. So first is going to be my puppy's comfort level just walking in and out of the crate with the door open. Then the second step is going to be comfort staying in the crate, again with the door open. And I'm going to show you videos of this here in a moment. Then comfort with the door being closed, and then we'll begin to extend the time that my puppy is in the crate, including separation, so where he can't actually see me. Now, what's really important to know about working through these 4 steps is that you only move to the next step when your puppy is showing you that he's truly comfortable. Now, I want to see comfortable, relaxed body language at every single step of this training before I move to the next one. So the first 2 steps, comfort walking in and out of the crate, and staying in the crate with the door open, is what we're going to cover in this first video, what I'm going to show you in this first video. I just have to find it super quick. There we go. Okay, so this is Leo's very, very first ever experience with this crate. Now, before I push play, you're going to see him walk right into it. And that's because right before I pushed record on this video, I pulled that blanket out and folded it and put it back in the crate. And Leo was like, oh, a toy, and just walks right into the crate after this blanket. But if that hadn't happened, I really would have just tossed a treat into the crate so that he could follow the treat. So this is about 1 minute and 10 seconds. So there you see him going after the blanket as if it were a toy. Blankets in your puppy's crate are pretty optional. If your puppy is going to chew and destroy a blanket, then he doesn't need to have a blanket in his crate. So all I'm doing really is just handing Leo a treat for going in the crate, handing Leo a treat for coming out of the crate. And then I'm just going to toss a treat back into the crate again to get him to go back in. So this is just, there's maybe a little bit of luring here, or there's some desensitization here. All I'm trying to do is create a good experience. I just want Leo to be comfortable walking in and out of the crate. I want to make sure he's not nervous about the crate, and I want to make sure he's comfortable with it. Now here we're on step 2, which is staying in the crate with the door open. Okay, so I haven't closed the crate yet, but I'm just handing Leo treats for being in the crate. He could stand, he could sit. I really don't care what he does. Leo happens to lay down. But I'm just trying to give him lots of treats for staying in that crate. Again, I'm making a really good association. He's allowed to come out whenever he wants. There's not a rule here. I'm just trying to reinforce him for being in the crate. So we repeated this step here a few times. I mean, but it was very, very short here. And Leo progressed through these steps very quickly. Other puppies are going to take longer at this step, and that is totally okay. And in fact, when I bring a puppy home, crate training is going to be our priority. This is going to be the first thing that we teach. Leo, I brought home, and you can read all about this in that ebook that I mentioned. So in our free puppy training ebook, you can read all about exactly how Leo and I handled our first night together, our first few days together. But what you'll see in there is that I talk about how crate training really is one of the very first things I teach my puppies. Actually, it's like the first thing, because I need them to sleep in it overnight in order to be safe. So this is going to be the first thing that I'm going to work on with my puppy, and I'm going to do this multiple times throughout their first day before I actually have to put them in there and close the door for nighttime. So once my puppy's really comfortable going in and out of the crate, really comfortable staying in the crate for maybe, 30 seconds or something with a pretty continuous stream of treats, then I'm going to move to step 3 here, which is comfort with the door closing. Now, this is just, again, to teach my puppy to be comfortable with the door being closed. Now, this clip is a little bit longer. This one is 3.5 minutes. As you can see, I really do he's eating his treat right now, which is the only reason I still have the door closed. So I open the door, hand him a treat, close the door. Open the door, hand him a treat, close the door. And if anybody is familiar with Susan Garrett's crate games, this does look a little bit familiar to that, but that is not what we're doing here. That's something I introduce a little bit later on down the road when my puppy is a little more comfortable, generally a little older as well. So if Leo wants to come out of the crate during this time, I am going to let him out. I want him to be comfortable with the door closing. I don't want this to be stressful. I don't want this to be scary. If closing the door is stressful, then we need to keep working harder, and we need to make sure that he's comfortable still with the door open, right? So you can see all I'm doing is opening the door, giving him a treat, closing the door. I think now is when I'm going to move to latching it. Yep, so I'm actually going to latch it for the first time, open the door again, give him the treat, and we're going to continue doing this until we can build just a little bit of duration. So you can see now, I'm keeping the door closed for 5, maybe 10 seconds at a time in between treats. I am not, my goal at this level really is just comfort with the door being closed. It is not about building 10 minutes or 20 minutes or an hour's worth of duration. This is just, look how fun it is to be in the crate. Look how many treats you get. The door closing isn't scary. The door closing is fine. So see here, he wants to come out. I was about to let him right out, and then he saw the treat and decided to go back in. Leo's very food motivated. But he's allowed to come out whenever he wants. Now, for those of you here live, I will answer some of your questions as we go. But if I don't answer your question as we go, I'll answer your questions at the end. So go ahead and throw any questions you have about crate training into the comments, and I'll answer them either as we go or towards the end. Okay. And then here, I do purposefully let him come out. Because I want him to see when you come out, we don't really get a whole lot of treats, but when we go into the crate, we get a lot of treats. So here we're just taking a little break, getting some attention. I think I'm searching him for a tick, which didn't exist. Here in Wisconsin, we have a lot of ticks. I don't know what I just pulled out of his fur. It wasn't a tick, but I'm sure that's why I was paranoid about whatever I felt on his fur just now. And then I toss another treat in there. There are lots of ways to do this. Some people do employ a formal shaping process and use formal shaping to teach their puppies to go into the crate, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's a perfectly good way to do it. This is just what I have found works really well for me and my puppies. So you can see I'm not shoving him into the crate. I really am allowing him to follow the treats in and go at his own pace. There's only about 30 seconds left of this video, and then we'll move on to talking about the next step, what comes from after this. So I like to work at this step until my puppy is comfortable having the door closed for about 30 seconds. Okay, once we get past 30 seconds, I'm actually going to switch tactics a little bit. So I want to know that my puppy, so you can see how relaxed his body language is. Your puppy doesn't necessarily have to be laying down, but I want to see totally relaxed, comfortable body language for a good 30 seconds before you move on to the next step. Now, the next step, oh, we missed a step, but the next two steps, oh no, we didn't. Ha, we're good. Something was in my way. Man, I'm a little off today. But step 4 is where we're going to actually start to extend the amount of time that my puppy is in the crate and eventually add in some separation. So what I don't have a video of this, unfortunately, but what I do here is this is where I actually start to provide chew bones inside the crate as opposed to continually feeding food. But you could systematically build duration in the crate exactly as you do with a stay, reinforcing, every 10 seconds, then every 20 seconds, similar to that. But if you're going to do it that way, you do need to look up duration and how to build duration appropriately. What I do with my puppies is once we're at kind of that 30-second mark, then that's where I'm going to actually just start to provide a high value chew inside their crate. Something like frozen Kong, or there's a whole bunch of things. And if you're unsure about what to provide inside your crate, a great place to ask is inside our free Facebook group, Train Your Service Dog with Confidence, or your vet. Your vet is a great resource for what is safe for your puppy to have at what ages, including what is safe for him to have unsupervised. But I like to provide high value chews inside the crate to help build duration. But while I'm building duration inside the crate, so I'm teaching my puppy to be comfortable inside that crate for an extended period of time. So starting with just 5 minutes and then working my way up to a couple of hours or however long, if you work 8 hours a day, eventually your dog is going to need to be comfortable in his crate for 8 hours a day. Even with our service dogs, there's going to be a period of time there where they're just not ready to go to work with you, and they're also not ready to be left out free inside your home, and that's where this crate training come in really handy. But as I'm starting to build the amount of time that my puppy's in the crate, I'm going to follow these tips, okay? So first, only tired puppies go into a crate. So I really like to make sure that my puppy has had some exercise and he's a little bit tired. If he has a ton of energy left, he's going to be unlikely to sleep. He's going to be more likely to be frustrated because he wants to come out and do something fun. So during the first few days, and again, if you check out that ebook I mentioned in the description of this video, you can see how I do this with Leo over the course of a week. You can do this over the course of just a few days. I really like to make sure my puppy is tired when he goes into the crate. It really helps him relax and start to go to sleep and all of that kind of stuff. I'm also always going to provide something for my puppy to chew on when he's inside his crate. And I do this for a couple of reasons. First, as your puppy gets older and starts to teeth, he's going to really need something to chew on when he's in his crate. But also, it gives them something to do. And if he has something to do in his crate, he's a lot more likely to be content for a longer period of time. Now, anything you leave inside that crate unsupervised, you need to make sure that you have tested ahead of time, that you have given your puppy that chew ahead of time, and you know for a fact it is safe for him to have unsupervised. And what is safe for him to have unsupervised is going to vary greatly depending on your individual puppy and how he chews. And this is, again, something that is a great question for your vet. So like I said, only tired puppies are going to go in their crates. I'm always going to provide something to chew on. And I'm also going to put the puppy where he can see me. So put the puppy and his crate where he can see you, especially in this beginning time when you are extending duration in the crate, extending the amount of time your puppy's in the crate for the first time. If you have that crate where he can see you, he's going to be a lot more comfortable and therefore a lot more content to sit and hang out in that crate. It's really important to remember that the crate can be hard for our puppies, partly because they're locked into a box, but also partly because most of our puppies haven't been alone before. They've never been alone. They've never slept alone. So it's a really great idea to help our puppies become comfortable in that crate before we start to add separation, where you're actually not in the same room with him. And then take the puppy out as soon as he wakes up from a nap. This is a really important one. Young puppies really need to go to the bathroom very quickly upon waking from a nap, right? As he gets older, you'll be able to delay that. He'll be able to wake up and you can take him out a little bit later. But 8, 9, 10, even up to 12 weeks, depending on your individual puppy and his breed. Again, a great question for your vet. He really needs to go out to the bathroom when he wakes up. So I actually like to teach my puppy to sit in his crate for an extended period of time before he falls asleep, not after. So during the first day or two, I'm only going to put my puppy in his crate probably when he's really ready to take a nap. But then over the course of day 3 and 4, I'll start to put him in his crate when he's tired, but maybe before he's actually going to take a nap, provide something to chew on, allow him to chew on that item in his crate within sight of me, and eventually he'll probably fall asleep, and then when he wakes out, I'll take him out right away. Now, as far as bedtime is concerned, this is another place that we get some questions. So with my puppies, I have a handful of tips for you to get through nighttime with your puppy in a crate. So first, which is I forgot to put on my list, is you want to make sure you have spent the day, as much time as you had throughout that day, introducing your puppy to his crate before bedtime. So if you get your puppy at 8 a.m. in the morning, you have all day to do little mini training sessions with the crate. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, just little training sessions, right? To get him ready for the crate before he has to be in there all night. I picked up Leo at 5 o'clock in the evening, so we didn't have a lot of time. But we did do a couple of sessions with the crate. We went for a walk. We played with some toys, so he was nice and tired. So the first tip is, again, puppies should be tired and should have something to chew on. So my puppies, I always spend the last hour or two before bedtime making sure my puppies are good and tired before bed. And then as they get older, we can decrease that amount of time. As our puppies get more comfortable sitting in the crate, they don't have to be as tired. But in the beginning, I like them nice and tired. So I'm going to make sure my puppy is tired before bed, and I'm going to give him something to chew on so that if he wakes up in the middle of the night but doesn't have to go to the bathroom, he has something to do. The second tip is to keep night let-outs super boring. So if your puppy wakes up in the middle of the night, in which he probably will, you'll need to take him outside. Most puppies need to go out 1 or 2 times per night for the first week or two as their bladders continue to develop. But it's really important that you keep these night let-outs very boring, because we don't want your puppy learning to wake you up at midnight for fun time or at 5 o'clock in the morning, unless that's what time you wake up. We don't want your puppy waking you up at 5 o'clock in the morning because it's time for breakfast and a play session. We want to start teaching our puppies pretty early to sleep while you're sleeping, right? To be quiet in their crates. So when I let my puppies out in the middle of the night, which I absolutely do, I take them out on a leash. They go to the bathroom, they get no treat, they get no playtime, nothing. They go, they're on a leash, they go to the bathroom, I pick them up, carry them inside, and put them back in their crates. Nothing fun happens, nothing exciting happens. We don't play, we don't eat, we don't get treats, nothing. If they wake me up in the middle of the night, I will take them out. There will be no penalty. But we're also not doing anything fun. And this applies also for early mornings. So Leo, for example, I think this is in the ebook, but I think he generally had to go out at he had to go sort of every 4 hours or something like that in the beginning. And one of those would tend to fall around 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning when I still wanted to sleep. So even then, even at 6 o'clock in the morning, we're going out, going to the bathroom on a leash, being put right back in the crate, and nothing fun is going to happen. Breakfast is not going to happen. Play sessions are not going to happen. Those will happen when I wake up in a couple of hours. Okay, so then my other tip for bedtime is to pick up the water. So I see a lot of puppy owners leave the water out right up until bedtime. And I am in no way suggesting that you dehydrate your puppy. So, especially depending on your puppy's activity level, he's going to need drinks of water right up until bedtime. But if you leave the water out for free access, our puppies tend to need to go to the bathroom more often throughout the night. So I go to bed around 10, which means I pick up the water bowl at around 8. So we have 2 hours where we don't have free access to water. But I will provide small sips of water depending on the activity we've had, depending on, all of that kind of stuff. But I really like to make sure that dinner was 3 or 4 hours before bed and we pick up the water at least 2 hours before bed. Again, we're not dehydrating your puppy here, okay? This is important, an important distinction. We're just restricting free access to the water before bedtime to set us up for success overnight. Okay. So that's pretty much how I crate train my puppies. Now, the extension, where we extend the amount of time that they're in their crate during the day, happens very naturally in my house. Like I said, I tend to put my puppies, give them some exercise, put them in their crate with something to chew on, and then I have to feed my other dogs, or I have to make lunch, or I have to do something like that. And so my puppies are just slowly in their crates for more and more period of time in a very natural and organic way. And as I mentioned in this book as well, in our free ebook, again, you can get in the link in the description of this video. I don't mean to keep pushing it at you, but it has all these kind of details in there. Is that, oh man, I completely forgot what I was saying. I can't remember. But all of these things happen very naturally in my house. Okay, so if anybody here live has any questions about crate training, go ahead and throw them into the comments and we can get those answered for you. Otherwise, like I said, definitely check out our free ebook. The first 7 days there in the link in the description. It has all kinds of tips in it, all kinds of tricks. It's not a comprehensive puppy training manual, but it is filled with all kinds of tips and tricks for raising your puppy, as well as that full description of how Leo and I spent our first 7 days together. Okay, so Abigail had a question. She says, can we do this with older dogs who may have crate anxiety or separation anxiety, or should we practice different protocols? So if we have an older dog who already has maybe a negative association with the crate or is already experiencing separation anxiety, I will still follow these same steps, but they're going to take a little bit longer. So Leo took to the crate so quickly, partly because that's how he is. He nothing stresses Leo out. He overcomes new things very quickly. But also, he had no negative association to overcome with the crate. He had no bad memories, no bad history, or anything like that. When I'm working with an older dog who maybe does have a negative experience or is anxious in their crates, then these steps are going to take longer. So I'm still going to go through these same steps, but they're going to take a little bit longer. Once my dog is comfortable in the crate, I also really love to introduce Susan Garrett's crate games, which you can find online. She has a whole DVD on them. We talk about them a little bit in our online academy, because we do use them a little bit, but she has a whole DVD and extensive program surrounding crates. And I really love that. Once my puppy is sort of 10 to 12 weeks old, and then for adult dogs as well, but we need to make sure they're comfortable in their crate before we move into crate games. And then the other thing is that if my dog already has separation anxiety, I'm going to want to work on that kind of separately as well. And if anybody's dog has separation anxiety, I really like Patricia McConnell's book. She's got a very, very short book. It's like a little booklet on separation anxiety. I think it's called I'll Be Home Soon. And that is an excellent, excellent resource on treating separation anxiety. And it is really important to remember that even though our service dogs are going to grow up to go everywhere with us, it's really important that we are teaching them to be comfortable being alone right from the very beginning. Anybody who's watching this live now towards the end of this COVID pandemic, if you've brought a puppy home now and you haven't had to work, make sure that you're spending some time actively teaching your puppy how to be alone before you have to head back to work. Okay, so then Heidi, getting to the trash is kind of separate from our what we're talking about here, which is crate training, but you can ask that just right inside the Academy, and we can give you answers inside the Academy's Facebook group because I know that you're a member. All right, so I'm not seeing any other questions, but this is kind of how I introduce my puppies to the crate. I hope that this was helpful. If you have any questions at all about crate training, the best place to ask them is going to be in our free Facebook group, Train Your Service Dog with Confidence. I will add that link to the description of this video as well. And then if you have a puppy now or you will be getting a puppy, go ahead and check out our free ebook, The First 7 Days, where we have all kinds of tips and tricks for just getting through that first week together as smoothly as possible and setting yourself up for success. All right, guys, we'll talk to you later. Have a great day.